Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, I figure since I'm a little bit behind, why not do a double feature? I hope all of you watched the Kaiju recap because today we're going to end our video spree with the review of Chapter 26 of Kaiju No. 8. I do hope you guys enjoy the new aesthetic around here, and if you stick around, there's something even more new on the way. But if you've never read Kaiju No. 8, this video is gonna have spoilers for the newish title on Shonen Jump Plus. It comes out every 3 weeks before a small break, and today we're gonna go ahead and catch up on what happened in Chapter 26. And somewhere along the way, we'll infer as to what might possibly happen in the future of Kaiju No. 8. Now, if you're not familiar with the title, it comes out for 3 weeks in a row, and then it has a little bit of a hiatus. Now, this chapter is the first one in the set of 3, so that makes it 2 more chapters before the break. And if you've never heard of Kaiju No. 8 and you're just here because of this lovely new aesthetic I got going on, I suggest you start with this video right here. That way, you can binge all of my reviews and then be up to date with the rest of us here at the bar. And without further ado, for those that are here for something other than My Hero Academia, here's something special for you. So with that being said, let's open up the bar and go grab a drink. Welcome to the bar, folks. Hope you enjoyed the new opening. I'll be talking about it a little bit more when I drop my official video, but I gotta lay out big daps to Oshi, Fianimation, and Glowing Donut for their amazing work. I mean, they pretty much helped me create this magical parallel world where Gojo and Spike Spiegel are boys. So, thank you guys, seriously. I'll talk more about the opening during the official video. I'm behind on kaiju content, and we have another chapter to go over that sets up the next 2 to be absolutely wild. I mean, at the end of Chapter 25, we saw Kikoru leveling the playing field by countering the attack by the kaiju. She straight up launches ahead of everybody else with her new weapon of hers, but I do like how this chapter takes the time to explain that a soldier's weapons are just more than meets the eye. So let's head over to the wall and break down 26, and maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say her axe is brutal as hell. Alright, so Chapter 26 starts out with Kikoru finding out that she's going to be receiving this axe because of her abilities being well above everybody else's. In fact, at the 3rd Division base, behind Hoshina and Mina, she's probably the 3rd strongest person. So while she's a rookie, they need her strength, and based on the current situation with stronger and stronger kaiju emerging, if a soldier can step up and do the work, they need to be properly equipped for the job. And while she's ripping around the battlefield, beating the shit out of people like she's the Full Metal bitch from All You Need Is Kill, she says that this is actually only a prototype weapon. So this lets me believe that these weapons are going to start transforming like something out of Monster Hunter. We already know that the several weapons developed by the Self-Defense Force are crafted from kaiju organs. In Kikoru's case, the axe is made from the uni organ of a kaiju that was dealt with 2 years ago in Shinagawa City. Now, a uni organ is more or less like the magazine clip for whatever rounds you're going to be using for that weapon. In Reno's case, he was somebody that decided that burst rounds really weren't to his fighting style, so he decided to switch it up and go with the uni organ of a freezing kaiju. And we see later this chapter that his choice to choose the freezing rounds were pretty valid. And before we keep going, I'm going to explain real quick what a uni organ is and how it works coupled with the suit. So, the uni organ is coupled with how much strength you can channel from your suit, and more exerted power that comes from the suit, the more the organ will output. Hence why Kikoru is able to whip around this giant axe. And I don't know if this is maybe me not paying attention, but I don't think we've seen the case where the organ becomes exhausted and you need to reload the weapon. And thinking back, they certainly look small enough that they could be exhausted, but I have a feeling it varies. Because in Kikoru's case, maybe once the organ wears out, that's when you move on to a better variant of the weapon. I mean, she did say that it was a boring weapon, and like I said before, maybe we got a Monster Hunter switch axe kind of deal that might happen. The more that this series progresses, I'm starting to get more of like a Bleach feel when it comes to characters' identities being defined through their ways of fighting. The way I see it, the humans are making themselves fight like kaiju. The suit, the guns, they're all made from kaiju. Like we see that Kikoru's first technique is pretty much a giant chop where she pulls a trigger on the axe and it comes flying down. And her second one is something called like water skimmer, where she more or less just chops the area in front of her and then pulls the trigger once again and sends out a massive shockwave that brutalizes anything in front of it. And at this point, obligatory shout out to Iharu and Rino, pointing out the obvious that this is definitely like her weapon of choice. Like, this is her as a weapon. And in typical Kikoru fashion, she only goes in one direction and she goes full steam ahead and forgets that things can come from above. Luckily for her, the next recruit to go off and one-shot a kaiju is Rino. And Kikoru is genuinely surprised at how much Rino has grown, but I'm gonna let everyone know that isn't paying attention. Said by Hoshina, the only two people that were said to have the ceiling to eventually become a captain was Kikoru and Rino. And I think at this scene right here, you know who they're shipping. And I think at the end of this arc, Rino and Kikoru are gonna look at each other like genuine rivals. I mean, their fighting styles, they fight remarkably well together, and considering that, he just slows down the target and then she just chops them into oblivion, I mean, come on. Also, I think right here, Kikoru improvised the third technique on the fly. It's ridiculous what she can do. But yeah, in chapter 26, we see that all of the recruits, for the most part, I'm looking at you, Izumo, do a pretty good job. But then this is where the chapter finally moves into what I really wanted to talk about, the battle between that kaiju and Vice Captain Hoshina. Now, if you don't recall from the recap, he's currently banging out against another kaiju. This one is a little bit less humanoid, but that's only limited to the fact that he's like 14 feet tall. And the fact that he's capable of coherent speech and punching through steel barricades like butter. But, either way, Hoshina isn't a laughing matter either. He's able to keep up with the kaiju enough that 1, he slices off the kaiju's arm, and 2, the kaiju itself compliments his fighting after rocking him with vicious blows. But what's really interesting here is the fact that Hoshina was baiting him away from the recruits and the air raid so he can use 92% of his power to take him on. And this is where I say that particular scene is a bit of a make or break kind of thing for Hoshina. Yeah, next week we could see Hoshina lose and Kafka come to his aid and reveal himself to Hoshina, or we could see how much of a badass Hoshina is when he unleashes 92% of his power. I mean, we saw what Mina did with that much, and there's gotta be a reason why as to Hoshina hasn't, gotten a promotion to become a division captain and has stood a vice captain for so long. That just leads me to believe that the other division captains are insanely strong as well, enough so that it prevents someone like Hoshina from becoming a captain. Though I gotta say, the prospect of Hoshina finding out that Kafka is Kaiju No. 8 after he obliterates the kaiju that almost kills him would be pretty amazing. We all know for a fact that if Hoshina finds out that Kafka can regrow limbs and possess the insane amount of strength and stamina of a kaiju, training Kafka will forever go both ways. And the purpose of training Kafka's kaiju form is just to help him control that power, because with power comes imagination. And at the same time, you got the rest of the 3rd Division that's able to train against a kaiju that duffed a Yoju into red mist. And while we're talking about Kafka's secret, I wonder how much longer they're going to push that narrative. The secret narrative has kind of gone on for long enough in my opinion, and I feel like maybe around chapter 50 they might do away with it. This really isn't the secret of One for All here. Eventually it will be revealed. The exciting storytelling from the repercussions and the recovering from that realization is something that I will be looking forward to. To be quite honest, I'm kind of expecting all of this to play out in the similar vein to Rin from Blue Exorcist or even Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen. And also, I can't wait for the scene where Hoshina finds out that Kafka wasn't even trying to give him the business. All of us as readers are just waiting for that definitive moment where Kafka's kid gloves just come flying off. He was tested by Kaiju No. 9 only a few chapters ago, and he was pretty much destroying him. So I really want to see a fight that just lasts more than 30 seconds and actually requires Kafka to do more than just, hit the delete button. I mean, when you think about it, he was getting ready to just manhandle No. 9 when it came down to it. So who knows what would have happened then and there. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this week's review. I really enjoy Kaiju No. 8, and if you have a favorite character from this series, be sure to leave it in the comments down below. And if you think that Hoshina is going to make it out of this incident alive, or if you think that Kafka is going to show up and save him, be sure to let me know down below. Other than that, I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys next week for Chapter 27. Cheers.